And if you don't know the name to this song, this is Spin Me Right Round. And what's going on with the NFL quarterbacks is they are spinning round and round. It's a QB carousel if I've ever seen one. David Garrard goes to the Miami Dolphins. Tim Tebow now gets shipped out over to the Jets. As we all know, Peyton Manning is a Denver Bronco. Alex Smith, after going to Miami, comes back to the 49ers. My goodness, and this is all just happening in a matter of a couple of days. Guys, there was a lot to get to, obviously. I was on a couple of days ago talking about the Peyton Manning decision and how I thought it was the wrong one. And the more I think about it, the more I know that I'm right. He just really doesn't have a lot of weapons out there to work with. And I like the division. Again, I just think he chose the wrong team. Should have gone to the Chiefs. A lot more weapons offensively to work with, and defensively they're better. Cold weather, I guess that really wasn't a factor because it snows in Denver in July. I mean, you never know what's going to happen over there. It's 75 degrees one day and then it's below freezing the next. So, alright, that's his decision. He's got $96 million coming to him over 5 years with somewhere around $60 million guaranteed. Way to go, Peyton Manning. You got your money. I hope you're happy. It seems he made the right decision. A big influence by John Elway, no doubt about it. So a lot went into that decision, and he was the first domino to fall, which caused all this other craziness again to go on. So you had Alex Smith getting frustrated. He went and took his frustrations to South Beach, and they ended up signing David Garrard instead. That's an interesting move altogether. I still like Matt Moore. It seems he should still be the starter over there. I thought Miami might be in the running for Tim Tebow because of, again, the way Miami runs their organization. They like to get stars, but they really turned out to be the biggest losers out of everybody. I mean, we all thought Peyton Manning and Reggie Wayne were going to go there, and now they're going to compete in the AFC East and maybe even for a Super Bowl. Instead, they end up losing Brandon Marshall and, going for quarterback. David Garrard didn't even play in the league last year. And I like Garrard, but a year off now for a quarterback who's getting up there a little bit. I mean, he's not an old guy or anything, but still. Those are the facts, and weird moves all around. Alex Smith ends up going back to the 49ers because really there was nowhere else to go. If he wanted to start, that's where he had to go play. And the 49ers had no other option really to bring anybody else in. So look, Smith gets his 3-year deal for $24 million. So do the math. Look at that. Got my little calculator in front of me. $8 million a year, pretty good for a guy who, in my opinion, really hasn't proven anything. He had his one good year last year, and that was under Jim Harbaugh, who worked miracles with him. And Harbaugh showed him a lot of respect, and, he left him on the field. And, again, he did great things with him, but you can't blame him for going after Peyton Manning. So, listen, Alex Smith, deal with it. Peyton's one of the greatest of all time. So, if you're upset about the situation, just get over it. Go meet up with your new teammates. You're going to be throwing to Randy Moss. You're going to be throwing to Super Bowl winner Mario Manningham. Go make friends with them as fast as you possibly can. Get it done. Really big news broke today. Sean Payton suspended for a year. Now, I'm on record. I went back and wrote on my website, a few weeks ago when this whole thing broke with the Bounties and the Saints, that Greg Williams and anybody else involved should be suspended for an entire year by the NFL, especially given the fact that Roger Goodell is so adamant about player safety and all that there was going to be a stiff punishment. I didn't take into account that Sean Payton would get such a long suspension as well. I mean, for an entire year he's banned, and I find that amazing, but I really don't have a problem with it. It really had to be done. It really sends a very stiff message to any team who's thinking about having a bounty out there. You either better keep it really quiet like other teams have done in the past, or just don't do it all, and I go with the latter. Don't do it. It's a hard-hitting physical game as it is anyway. So he gets a year, and that's huge because his players love him. He's the play caller. Now you need Drew Brees more than anything. You better make sure you sign that guy to a long-term contract and get him in-house because he's basically going to be your coach on the field. No doubt about it. They're going to miss Sean Payton a lot, and this is going to be a really big bang to that franchise, that organization. No question. They're going to have a tough year. Tebow to the Jets. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. They're another team who was really lost as far as I'm concerned in the free agency market. They didn't pick up anybody of notice, but they did get LaRon Landry yesterday at the safety from the Washington Redskins, former overall first-round draft pick, and I do think that's a very good sign. Unfortunately, he's been injury-prone over the past couple of seasons. He's really only played half the year in 2010 and 2011. So hopefully he can stay healthy and help them out because their secondary is weak besides Darrell Reeves. I do like Jim Leonard. And speaking of the Jets and Tebow, and for the secondary for the Jets, Antonio Cromartie, the cornerback who's been there now for a few years, had this to say about Tebow, not exactly in quotes but paraphrasing, that, hey, we need to go out and get weapons for Mark Sanchez and not bring in a guy like Tebow. Now, that's all well and good. I understand you defending your quarterback and everything and saying that you need to bring in weapons, and I agree. But you just got a brand new teammate, Tim Tebow. He's going to be in your locker room very soon. You maybe have sitting very close to him in your locker, and you may have to converse with him once in a while because you know what? You're both going to play. You're both playing for the Jets. All right. Look, get it straight, Antonio Cromartie. Look, you've had issues yourself. You're not the greatest cornerback in the world. I think you're highly overrated. I think you're great at special teams, and I think that you should really remain there and maybe play some free safety given your athletic ability, but your coverage stinks. So embrace your new teammate because he can be that Brad Smith kind of guy. If you NFL fans and especially New York Jet fans remember Brad Smith, he was excellent for them. He would come in for anywhere between 4 to 8 plays during a game, and every time he touched the ball, he had an impact. He didn't even throw that much. He really just ended up running out of the Wildcat. There's not many guys that do that better than Tim Tebow, so I think this can really work out. He's not a threat to take Mark Sanchez's job. Sanchez just signed a 3-year deal, and for all you Sanchez haters out there, give it some time, and especially look at the recent past where he brought that team to 2 AFC championships. Now, I know that he wasn't the focal point of the team, obviously, but still, he was the quarterback, and he beat teams like Indianapolis in the Dome. And he beat teams like Tom Brady in Foxborough, like the New England Patriots. So, look, the guy's resume is pretty damn good, and I understand he didn't have his greatest year last year, but that can be said for a lot of change on offense, missing Jericho Cotchery and players like that. Braylon Edwards, I know that he was hurt, but still, you're talking about a chemistry sport. You need all 11 players on the side of the ball to be on the same page. It's that important. So my advice to Cromartie is embrace your new teammate, Tim Tebow, because he can help your offense out who really hasn't been scoring many points. All right, so you need all the help that you can get. The Eagles get really lucky with getting DeMeco Ryans for only a 4th-round pick and swapping this year's, I think, 3rd-round pick. Is this something I don't know? Is this something we don't know? Because DeMeco Ryans has been a perennial Pro Bowler for the past 4 years. The guy's a great player. Plus the fact you add in that the Texans already lost Mario Williams to Buffalo. What are they doing? They had an excellent defense last year. Now you're breaking up the entire defense to core parts? The 2 best players you got? I don't know. That's a bad move right there. Maybe, Peyton should have thought about going to Tennessee on second hand, But all right, there's one running back out there that I think is a pretty darn good one that teams should look for a backup because everybody needs a 2 running back system now. It's just the way the NFL goes. If you look at it, every team pretty much, with maybe the exception of, Ray Rice in Baltimore, maybe a couple others, LaShawn McCoy in Philadelphia. They're the predominant runners, but everybody's got some sort of backup or some sort of, wing back, to work with them. And Michael Bush for the Raiders is a very good player. And he's out there and he's available. And speaking of the Jets and offense, they should go after him. There's a handful of teams that can use a guy like Michael Bush right now to come in and, spell the load for maybe even a guy like, Adrian Peterson. Yeah, Toby Gerhardt's pretty good out there. Maybe in Chicago with Matt Forte. Marion Barber's there. He didn't perform so well. He actually had some critical fumbles and out-of-bounds plays in that, second to last week game against Denver, the Denver Tebows, which now he's going to be a Jet, and the New York media is crazy, so we'll see where that all goes. Brandon Lloyd, as I had predicted a while ago, is a New England Patriot. There's been a few other moves, but most importantly, I've really hit on all the topics I've wanted to get to. And one thing I did want to say and close out is a goodbye to Hines Ward. He's been one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL. He's a true football player. I think he's a Hall of Famer. In my opinion, he's a Hall of Famer. You can't just go by the numbers. He does have good numbers, there's no doubt. They're not necessarily, Hall of Fame type, but he's an MVP of a Super Bowl. He's got 2 championships. He was a hard-nosed football player who would block. Yeah, some called him dirty, but you know what? They wouldn't be calling him dirty 20 years ago. The game has just changed. Things are different. To me, he's one of the best football players that ever played. Not wide receiver, not skilled athlete necessarily, but the guy was just an awesome player, an awesome teammate, great guy to be around, always smiling, and I'm going to miss him. And I understand that he's retiring because it's not like he's going to go to another team and be a number 1 or a 2 wideout. Retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. He spent 14 years there, I believe. And you know what? God bless. I wish him all the best. And they even got the field named after him. I know it's really not named after him. It's Heinz Field, like the Heinz ketchup. But you know what? Pretty damn cool. So again, with all that being said, all the moves, quarterback moves, suspensions, and Tebow to the Jets, and all this craziness. There's so much stuff going on. We'll definitely come back with more. Hopefully my partner will be back in with me next week. Like I say, he's down spring training Florida, getting some of the action going on. I got my fantasy draft coming up in a couple of days. Go to the website, rootforsports.com. You can check my rankings. Check all the blogs, regarding the NFL, NBA, and the MLB. Obviously, is going to be starting to get hot. I'm doing terrible in my tournament bracket, so please don't look at that page, all right? I got to save some face over here. They call me the sports prophet, but I'm not really living up to it right now. Although I can brag in other areas, I'll save that for another time. For now, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in to the Root for Sports podcast, and we will see you again soon.